Nadia, I think I need to set you up so that you can do a backup recording for us.
Sounds good.
Okay, I've just done that setting for you. I wonder if I might be able to get one of my fellow conservation commissioners to be a co-host and watch the waiting room for me. Anybody willing to do that? Okay, not hearing any takers.
I can watch the waiting room for you if you'd like, Mary.
That would be really helpful, Nadia. I don't want to leave anybody hanging while I'm trying to run the meeting. So I have made you a co-host. Okay, we are live. We are recording. Nadia, I assume you are recording as well. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Town of Lunenburg Conservation Commission meeting of October 19th. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Meetings Law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio and video recorded. The agenda lists all of the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those which are reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the Open Meeting Law. Please address all comments to the chair. Until Bob Pease joins us, I will be the acting chair. This meeting of the Conservation Commission will be held by Zoom at the link provided in this notice. And for anybody that may be joining us on live stream, you can go to the Town of Lunenburg calendar, download the agenda, and go to the Zoom meeting link and just click on it. If you want to dial into it or navigate independently, go to Zoom online. The meeting ID, and write this down, is 847-6611-0417. The passcode is 627938. Okay, I will start out with a roll call. Bob Pease. Rich Bursch.
Present.
Jeff Viviano. Katie Childs.
Present.
Mike LaRouche.
Present.
Rich Tremblay. Rich, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? I'm present.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. So public comments. If there are any public comments, please keep those brief. Actually, are there any public comments by the commissioners for us tonight? Not seeing any hands. Not seeing anybody come off mute. And for members of the public, are there any public comments that you'd like to bring up tonight? Please address all public comments to the acting chair. And I am not seeing anybody come off of mute. So we will move into new public hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Darren Brousseau for the construction of a single-family home, well, and septic system at 390 New West Townsend Road. Do we have Mr. Brousseau or his representative on the call here tonight?
Madam Chair, Greg Roy with Dillson Roy. I'm here representing the applicant this evening.
Thank you, Greg. You have the floor. Why don't you take us through the project?
Thank you very much. Is it appropriate to share my screen?
Yes, let me make certain I have those permissions set. There we go.
Okay. Bear with me here. Okay, how's that? Can you all see the screen
Yes.
over here? Okay. So a little history here. This is a project, again, as you read, located at 390 New West Townsend Road. It was previously approved by the commission back in 2017 with an order of conditions. The file number was 1125 at that time. And since that time, the applicant has actually begun work under that order. Primarily has begun building the proposed septic system. So he has started the over excavation for the system and some of the breakout fill. And while he was in that process, and I guess now that he's moving towards getting ready to construct the foundation, it was brought to his attention that the order of conditions had expired. So we are here tonight for a new order of conditions, which is really just a resubmittal of an old of a plan that granted not many of your commissioners have seen because you're all new since 2017, but it's a resubmittal of a plan and notice of intent that was previously approved by the commission back in 2017. But be that as it may, I'll give you a brief overview. New West Townsend Road is off of the page here to the left. I'm sorry. Can you all hear me? Can you folks hear me?
We can hear you, Greg, but sounds like you're getting positive feedback from maybe another audio device in your room.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be. Is this better?
It is better.
Better.
It is better for me too. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what that was. New West Townsend Road is sort of over here by where the locust map would be, so it's out of the picture. In 2003, the commission also approved yet another order of conditions to construct the gravel driveway from New West Townsend Road into the project site area. That is, of course, almost 20 years old now, and that was done. I actually lived across the street from this for a number of years, so I remember when that went in about 20 years ago. But be that as it may, there's an existing gravel driveway that comes into the property from New West Townsend Road. And the soil testing for the site was conducted in the area you can see here where we have the hatched sort of rectangular area on the screen with the 4 white rectangles are the leaching trenches. The riverfront area, it's very difficult to see, but it's in light blue. That's the outer limit of the 200-foot riverfront area. And this sort of lighter hashed line or dashed line here that I'm highlighting here is the limit of the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands. So, and then this darker hatch line here is the limit of our erosion control barrier. So you can see that we're not working very much within the buffer zone, and we are working a little bit within the outer riparian zone of the riverfront area, but no work is proposed within the 100-foot riparian zone. So what I wanted to point out to the commission this evening was that relative to the proposed site disturbance within both the buffer zone and the riverfront area, there is no change to this plan from what was previously approved. The erosion control barrier remains unchanged. The location remains unchanged. The Board of Health did, after observing the bottom of excavation, did ask us to raise the system by a foot. So the septic system was raised in elevation by 1 foot, which affected the breakout grading slightly, but we did not have to tweak the limit of clearing. We were able to keep all the grading within the previously approved work area, upgrading of the erosion control barrier. So in the well and the house location are all proposed in the same location as they were before. So we're here tonight, I guess, to ask you for approval of this order of conditions. We, of course, filed a brand new one because the old one was expired. We do intend to close out the former order of conditions. We'll just check the box that the work was not completed once this order is issued, so that we can sort of get ourselves back on the right get ourselves back in good graces, if you will, and not have an expired order of conditions. So that is our intention. And I think that's all. I'll yield back to you if you have any questions.
Do you have the existing or the previous, I guess is the appropriate way to call it, order of conditions handy to show the commission?
Order of conditions, I can check here. Let me
We have
see.
them in the office as well.
Do you
I
have
could
them
try to-
available to show to us, Nadia?
Can
But I
pull
really
them up
don't,
in a minute or two.
yeah, I don't care who shows them. I just wanted to make certain that, we
Well, let
kind
me
of
stop
start
my
from,
Let me stop my share and then I can try to find the order as well.
thank you. And I was able to go with several of my fellow commissioners on the site walk this past weekend. One of the things I had noticed about the wattles is that they appear to be doing their job, but are also starting to compost and decay into the surrounding area. So at the very least, I would be interested in seeing those wattles renewed. So new ones placed on top or something to that matter.
Okay, yep. It's been a few years for sure, so I can fully understand that.
Rich, you have your hand up.
I don't see a DEP number for this project unless Greg had been
Yeah,
notified today.
Yeah, we did get notified today, Rich, that one was issued. We actually, we tried to file this one as, earlier than the filing deadline to try to give DEP a little bit more time to issue that because, frankly, the client is kind of midstream here and he was really hoping to keep moving. So they were able to issue us a DEP number. So that was issued. It's number 1274 is the number.
I also got the email here in the office.
Very good. While we're looking for that document, do any of the other commissioners have questions or comments?
I did find the order of conditions as well. I'll put that up on the screen while you're.
Thank you.
This was the order here. You can see it was recorded. It's recorded and it's in and it was 11/25. It was at the time issued to Albert Donaldson. The property has changed hands now. So your
Sure.
applicant this evening is Prousseau, but it's the same piece of property.
You can just zip to the last page, Greg.
Yeah, that's what I
That'll
was
have
thinking as
our,
well.
Additional comments on it.
Sure. Let's see. These are general conditions.
Yep, we would have added any special conditions right at the very end. If there were any, Matt would have put them at the end.
These are probably them, right, Rich? After, hold on.
Yep, just the last page, page 14.
Okay, yep,
There's one.
yep. Can you all see that? I'm trying to zoom in here. Hold on.
Yes, that's a good size for me.
Let me see if I can zoom in a little here.
Yeah, so it looks like the biggest thing we added was the total riverfront disturbance, so that it was recorded. And you said that hasn't changed at all, Greg?
Well, it hasn't changed at all, Rich, but we have no idea. So that was a comment by DEP was to point to condition 45 that listed 608 square feet. I have absolutely no idea where that number came from. The number is closer to 8,000 square feet when we calculate it. So I have no idea where that number came from, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, so the total riverfront is not 43.
The total riverfront of the property, and we reported all these on the forms that you have now, our current Form 3 that we submitted with this application is 91,000 square feet. That's total riverfront on the property. And the proposed disturbance is 8,200 square feet. I'm rounding, but that's what the, we of course give you down to the square foot, but I do not know where we couldn't, I don't know if it was like off by a decimal place and it was a Scribner's error there or what, but it doesn't. Like I said, we haven't changed anything on the erosion control line or anything from the 27, from this order, the plan that was referenced by this order. And it just doesn't count anywhere near 608 square feet, so.
Mike LaRouche, you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. I was just curious about, are these current DEP notation, or is this the past DEP?
What I just referred to with the DEP comments.
Yes.
Today, they came in, so DEP had 3 comments today when they issued the number. They asked, they said that the expired order of conditions should receive a certificate of compliance prior to the issue of the new order of conditions. I don't know why it would need to be done prior, but we do intend to, as I said, we do intend to ask you to issue a certificate of compliance, but we checked the box on the old order that says work was not completed. And then the second was that the applicant states in that the project is exactly the same as the project previously approved under the order of conditions, file number 208-1125, which is the order that you're looking at on the screen from 2017. There appears to be a discrepancy in the total riverfront area on the site and an increase in the amount of alteration to the riverfront area in the OOC for the old order and the current proposed NOI. Please clarify. Condition number 45 states only 608 square feet of alteration will be allowed, and the current NOI is proposing and appears to be perpetual condition. I'm not sure exactly. Looks like that sentence doesn't really make sense, but basically what he's pointing to this condition and saying, you know, the 2017 condition says that there's 608 square feet of riverfront alteration. I guess I'm trying to clarify that by saying, I don't know where the 608 was calculated from, but the plans that we submitted in 2017 show the exact amount of riverfront alteration that we're proposing this evening, and it's 8,200 square feet. So we're not changing anything, but I just think that the 608 square feet, when it was issued in this order, was calculated incorrectly. And then the third. Sorry.
I just know, where do we go from here on that interpretation or that calculation? Is that something that you will work with DEP, or is this?
I don't necessarily think we need to. I think that we're still under the threshold for the riverfront area performance standard. So I think you can resolve it by just, when you issue the new order, you of course will have the ability to modify conditions or add conditions if you see fit. If there's more conditions that you feel this evening need to be added, you know, I think we could clean that up just by probably, my suggestion would be eliminating the reference and just referencing the approved plan that we submitted, so that, you know, everything points to an approved plan that shows clearly where the alteration limits should be.
Thanks, Greg.
The last comment DEP had was to ask when the crossing and current driveway permit was permitted and built, and that was 2003. So I addressed that in my opening comments. So it's quite a while ago, almost 20 years ago.
Rich Bursch, you have your hand up?
I did. Hey, Greg, can you I think the easiest thing to do is just supply us with the right numbers for condition 45. And
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see, because if I just do quick math on this side of the brook, you know, if you take 200-foot riverfront times 120-foot wide property? Oh no, it's a 200-foot wide property. So, I mean, it definitely, for what you're saying, it looks like we've got the wrong figures in there.
yeah. I think it was just the closest we can tell, Rich.
That's the one side.
They just used the one side with the 41,000 or the
Yep.
43,014. So
Yep.
in our application, and I don't think that's really the right way to do it. So I'll note also that the paperwork, the Form 3 that we submitted back in 2017, I looked that up. I actually have it here if you'd like to see it, but the riverfront area alteration numbers were not included on the Form 3 from our office as part of this filing. So
Okay,
I'm really not sure where the 43,414 came from or the 608. I can only guess that it was given as part of the public hearing process, or maybe supplementally given. But what we did this time, Rich, was, and members of the commission, was we calculated the entire riverfront on the property, which is really the right way to do this. And then, of course, reported the, and that's 91,000 and change. And then we also calculated the work proposed within the riverfront area, which is nominally 8,200 square feet. So I think those numbers, you could certainly reference those. They're in the Form 3 that you have this evening, so you could certainly reference those in the order if you wish. Does that make sense? Or
yep, no, I'm just to stay with where we've already approved it once, just to have the proper numbers in there.
yeah, you could definitely just update those numbers with the ones we have in the Form 3, and that would work.
So what was left for alteration, so it the 10% threshold?
Say that again.
So with 91,000 square foot riverfront, 8,284 square feet of disturbance in the outer riparian.
Right.
So that's gonna leave you, it looks like about 7,800 square feet. No,
Yeah, but I mean, we're not even
700.
asking for that, Rich.
Okay.
Like, we don't need, we, any further disturbance, we'll come back with a new order. Like, we're happy to just have you, reference the approved plan and,
okay,
know,
yeah,
we're under the-
I think to put it, it just makes it a little easier to find it if somebody does come forth
yep,
later on down the road, to know that we've have disturbance and there's only so many square feet left, so.
that's fine if you want to do it. And we could certainly provide you those numbers if that's.
Yeah, I mean, it
Oh.
looks,
But it's 10% of 9,100. So you're talking 91, you're talking 8,200, 9,100,
minus 9145.
nominally like 900 square feet.
Yep, so if we can just, if Natalie can figure, or Nadia can just figure that out quick and
Yeah.
just update the numbers, if you don't mind, Nadia.
Yeah, do you want me to, I'm like, what can I do? I can put it in the chat if that would be helpful from the old order of conditions with the correct numbers.
Yep, yeah, just use the same language on our
Yep.
boilerplate plate with the special conditions. Yeah, it looks like about 860 square foot of disturbance left.
That sounds about right.
10%, so, okay. Yeah, other than that, I do remember when it came forward a few years ago, so the driveway definitely had been there for quite a while. And it didn't look like it was impounding the brook at all at that time. So, thank you, Greg.
You bet.
Do we have any other questions from commissioners? So I think at this time, I would be looking for a motion to approve the notice of intent with maybe the pre-existing conditions, the amendments as stated for item 45 and new waddles, something to that effect.
Yeah, we're happy to, if you want to put it in condition 46 that says the erosion control barriers should be updated or refreshed, that's perfectly acceptable.
Thank you.
I would make a motion that we approve this notice of intent, updating the condition 45 from the previous order of conditions to show the proper square footage of riverfront, the square footage of disturbance, and the square footage left as shown on Form 3 that was submitted. I believe in our order of conditions that it is incumbent on the applicant to notify the office 14 days prior to the start of construction for review of the wattles and other areas around the wetlands before they start construction. So at that time, you can put in the new wattles prior to the inspection. Thank you.
I second.
Do we have a second? That was that Mike that I heard?
Yes, it was.
Very good. Roll call vote. And I don't see that we've had Bob join us yet. Okay, so Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it.
Mary, who was the second on that vote?
Mike
I
LaRouche.
was the second.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Moving on down the agenda, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public meeting on the request of a determination for applicability by the Lunenburg Water District for the replacement of a water main on 1205 through 1479 Mass Ave. Do we have somebody from the Water District here this evening?
My name is Anthony Cleaves. I'm with Haley Ward here on behalf of the Lunenburg Water District. We prepared the RDA application, and also with us tonight, Gary McCarthy and Elise Dubois from Stantec, who did the water main design. It's their plans that were submitted. So to kind of recap from last meeting, we were before the commission to discuss a waiver request regarding the notification of abutters that the local bylaw requires for an RDA. And at that last meeting, it was decided to not grant that waiver, but we had a discussion on what abutters would be appropriate to notify. So we did that, generated a list, and notified abutters. And so we've done that, so we can, I think, continue on for the discussion of the project. If you'd like, I can share my screen to bring up the plans if that's easier.
Yes, why don't you do that?
I guess let me start with the this is the Lunenburg Assessors GIS website. So the project runs from Northfield Road intersection of Mass Ave, which is on the left, a few hundred feet past Connell Drive, which is on your right. And so the intent of the project is to install a new replacement water main to replace the one that's currently in Mass Ave. The work all falls within the right of way of Mass Ave, so it's all within the public layout. Much of the work does fall in the pavement. Some work does go outside into the shoulder areas. And as you can see in the GIS, there are a few wetland areas, which is why we're filing. There's one in this area just off of Townsend Harbor Road. Then there was another one there's another crossing just a little bit past that. It's not really shown on the GIS. We'll get to that in a second on the plans. Another one kind of middle of the way. And then as you get over near the school driveway, there's another wetland there. So just come to the plans. So we'll just take you along. So again, starting on the left-hand side, this is the Northfield Road intersection, and we continue on. And at first, few hundred feet, no buffer zone work. But then as you get to Townsend Harbor Road, what we've highlighted in green is the wetlands, in red, the 30-foot no touch, and in yellow-orange, the 100-foot buffer zone. Just zoom in. So the existing water main is on this side of the road, which is, where we're putting the new water main. The construction in this section here, what's being proposed is to horizontal directionally drill. This section of the project is the closest to the wetlands, although the existing water main is that close. To minimize potential for any temporary disturbance of the wetlands, the proposal is to do a horizontal directional drill where the work would be, the pits would be outside of the 30-foot no-touch zone. So this area would remain undisturbed. But we have silt fence and straw wattles proposed along the areas of work in this section to protect the wetlands on both sides of the road as well. And then as we continue, and also any catch basins that could receive stormwater flow are going to have filter fabric in them to protect any siltation to get into the catch basins. Then as we continue on to the next section, this is where we have a few pockets of wetlands on either side of Mass Ave. So in this area, we're not as close to the wetlands. The right-of-way doesn't get as close to the wetlands. So this would just be a conventional open cut excavation, typical for utility work. Excavate the material, put it to the side, put your pipe in, and then backfill and cover it up pretty much as you're moving along. Same thing, straw wattle, silt fence along the edges of the work area, both sides of the road. So again, there's the buffer zone, 30-foot no touch, wetlands, and then we continue as we get up to Connell Drive coming up and the school driveway. Another wetland area here, again, identical to the other sections where water main off the edge, a straw wattle, silt fence on both sides to protect the wetlands. And that's a brief overview if you have any questions.
I do not have any questions. Do any of my fellow commissioners have questions? Rich Tremblay.
Thank you. On the last section that we just talked about, are you going to open the road in that area or do directional digging?
So this section is open cut within the on the edge of the pavement. So this would be an open cut.
Okay, thank you.
Rich Birch.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Thank you. Anthony, when does the time frame for construction?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to defer to if any of the Stantec folks that are on the line might know what the plan is on that.
Gary, do you know when we're going to bid?
Sorry, I was just getting unmuted. This is Gary McCarthy from Stantec. The plan is to go to bid this winter and get a contractor signed up. We're hopeful that this work can be done in the summer this coming summer, 2023. The whole industry is experiencing some supply interruptions on getting pipes, so we may be delayed a little bit, but the goal right now is to get this done during the construction season of 2023.
All right, what's the duration of the project, do you estimate?
It's probably 60 to 90 days. Would you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, I think so. say barring any delays in getting material, mostly pretty straightforward construction. You know, yeah, I agree.
60 to 90 days.
All right. And you're just gonna start at one end and work your way down. You're not gonna have multiple crews throughout the area?
It's up to the contractor. We don't give them that detailed instruction. You know, they try and do it in the most efficient way they can. But we do have, you know, requirements on how they have to maintain protection of wetlands. You know, they can't disturb the pipe because we're actually going to have bypass piping here, so they can't disturb the water supply. So there's a lot of those types of requirements. But if the contractor thought that that they could get it done and working at multiple locations, and they would be allowed to do that.
Okay. And do you have an engineer that plan to be on site during the construction?
So Stantec does have services. We will be providing services to the district during construction. The day-to-day is going to be done by the water district themselves. They've got a staff member that plans to be there day-to-day, but our responsibility is kind of the overall management, just to make sure that the district gets what they're paying for.
Okay, so you will have somebody on site daily, or you will not? Those are not
Stantec will
possible.
not. The district will have someone on site daily.
Okay. All right, and I just want to make sure that the communications stay open when you're getting into these wet areas, so that we
Of
can
course.
complete the erosion protection and watch the method of construction. All right, thank you very much. I have no
Sure.
more questions.
Thank you, Rich. Rich and Rich. Are there any other questions by our commissioners? I see none. So this was an RDA. I think I'm looking for a motion for negative determination of applicability if the commissioners so feel it.
I would make a motion for a -3 determination with condition that the office be notified 14 days prior to construction within the areas of jurisdiction.
Do we have a second?
Second,
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have Rich Birch for the first motion and Katie Childs for the second. Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
We
folks.
have to vote on it still.
Yep,
Oh,
we do.
all right.
I was getting too eager. We do have to vote on it. Thank you, Rich. So roll call vote, Rich Birch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
aye.
Mike LaRouche. Did we lose him? Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
aye for myself. And it looks like we lost Mike. Okay, but that's a quorum, so it's approved.
Yep.
Great. Well, thanks
Okay.
again. Thanks again, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, now let's move on to other parts of our agenda. You know what?
Mary, you might want to go back and get the minutes approved from the last meeting.
Oh, thank you, Nadia. That is correct. On the other thing that I failed to do is I had a note here to ask for a butter input and had not done that. Okay. So did we have a butters for the water main project? Okay, it looks like no. So I'm off the hook there. Yeah, I did overlook the meeting minutes from the previous meeting, October 5th. Do we want to go ahead and approve those meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of October 5th.
Second,
Thank you. Roll call vote. Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche. Do we get him back? No. Okay. Rich Tremblay,
aye.
and I for myself. Okay, that's unanimous. Very good. Okay, let's go back to new business. Okay, so I don't think we can do election of officers as we don't have everyone here this evening. I do have announcement from the Girl Scouts. So we did have the Girl Scouts present last week with a bench proposal for the Lane property, which we approved. I have received a notification from the Girl Scouts that they intend to be down at the Lane property this Saturday to install that at, they'll start work at 10 a.m. At our meeting in the Lane parking lot. So anybody from the commission that wishes to attend would be welcome. I plan to be down there myself to lend a helping hand. We gained Mike LaRouche back. Oh, he's connecting with audio. Okay. Were there any questions for town council that the commissioners wanted to bring up? See no hands. Nadia, we have an agenda item here about the use of DocuSign. I think you wanted to make some commentary about that.
Yes, I just wanted to ask that if anyone doesn't want to sign something on DocuSign, please do not reject the request for signature, because it just throws off our ability to have anybody else sign the document at all. And it makes administering the permits very difficult here in the office. So I understand sometimes people have objections to what has been approved by a majority of the commission, but if you want to just send an email to myself or my replacement about that, just please don't reject the DocuSign, because it basically throws the whole permit off, and we can't have anybody else sign it.
Okay, so I think, and thank you for that, Nadia. So I think what you're saying is that when you structure the DocuSign, if anybody wants to decline to sign, you need to structure it so that you're not putting them on distribution for signature.
We don't have a way to do that, but yeah. So.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like, I send it out to everybody, which we're required to do. And if you don't want to sign it, just don't sign it. Don't actually choose to reject it.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
As one of those that did the decline, I apologize, but I would get like 8 or 9 requests to sign it. So I figured that was the easiest way to stop those from coming.
Yeah.
I think that's an intuitive type of response, that you need to take some type of action, and when reject is there, it seems like you're getting pushed towards it. So it's nice to understand the process from the document circulation side of it.
Yeah, I think on the other end, on the back end, this is something that maybe Rebecca or my replacement can work on. If people haven't signed it, it sends a new reminder out at like midnight every night. And so it keeps doing that until the document gets signed, which is a little annoying, but unfortunately the convenience of DocuSign is very nice. With the commission not meeting in person, it's very helpful to have DocuSign.
Very good. Thank you. Were there any new business topics that we need to bring up that were not known 48 hours in advance?
I'll just say that I have a request for another administrative determination, but I'll bring that up at that point in the meeting agenda.
Okay, thank you. Nothing else from my fellow commissioners? Okay.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes, Mike.
Sorry, I was, had some issues with Wi-Fi and I am back on. I did not get the last public hearing. I don't know what the vote
Outcome
came
was?
down to, the outcome. Thank you.
Yeah, so we approved that with unanimous and noted that you were absent.
Okay.
And had assumed technical difficulties. Rich Bursch asked that we add to, we approved a negative determination of applicability is the more appropriate way to say it. But Rich Bursch asked that we add a order of conditions that the office be notified, the commission office be notified 14 days prior to construction start, so that we know when to start monitoring the work.
Thank you for bringing me up to date. And yes, I was having a technical difficulty, which hopefully has been resolved.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Also, while you were away, we voted, again, unanimous, except for your absence, to accept the meeting minutes as circulated for the October 5th meeting.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Old business. Do we have any updates on encroachment issues? Nadia?
I do not have any further information at this time.
Okay. And do we have any updates on the Hollis Road residents?
Did I bring everyone up to speed that we did select a glass company to replace the windows at 123 Hollis Road? And I believe all of the signings have been done. I believe the windows may have, or they were ordered, so they've been ordered. And I believe there's a 6 to 7 week lead time, which would bring us probably, if that were to be the actual timeline, it would probably bring us to the first or second week of December to begin the project. I was away for a few days, so I have not had a chance to do something that I wanted to do, which was to connect with the tenant to see if we could get a list of appliances and perhaps heating systems as far as getting how old they might be, and wanted to present that to the commission so we have a better picture of what we might be looking in the future to either replacing equipment, things of that sort. And I'm hoping to perhaps get that list compiled for our next meeting.
That would be excellent. Thank you, Mike.
And there was some issue about an exterminator. And I wasn't clear whether or not an exterminator, I knew we had approved an exterminator plan or a proposal. So I'm not quite clear whether or not someone actually, well, I'm not clear whether a service has been rendered and whether or not that's something we need to talk about or pay for. I knew there was the proposal was around $500 or so for the actual annual contract for extermination. But I'm not exactly clear on that last email whether or not service has been rendered at that property. The other piece was the Cleghorn Plumbing invoice at Hollis Road. And I believe that, if I recollect, replacement of toilet fixtures, and somehow I thought we had voted on that to approve that, but it may not have gotten paid for by the town as of yet. So I want to throw that back into our realm for either, does it need a new vote or clarification of what that plumbing invoice was all about? Nadia, do you have any need to get that invoice talked about as far as what we did?
Yes, it is on the minutes, but there is no vote back in March, I believe. And so what we need from the commission tonight is a vote on to pay the invoice. The invoice is for $1,471.56. And so just on a vote from the commission, we should be able to pay the invoice.
Very
And Mike,
good.
those services were rendered, yes?
Yes, they were. It was kind of an emergency kind of thing where one of the toilets was inoperable and the other one was just broken. And I think it was deemed that to replace both toilets was deemed the best way to go for safety and health reasons. And so once again, I thought that had been approved. I know it was talked about in past Conservation Commission meetings, but apparently it was not to the satisfaction of getting the invoice paid.
Do any of the our fellow commissioners have any other questions or comments about that invoice? I would accept a motion to pay as submitted.
I would second that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote then. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay,
Looks like-
that's a unanimous vote to approve it.
I guess the next topic is the use of Hollis Road account for the pollinator habitat. I think Bob was going to make some recommendation. I know there's a couple of accounts that has been used or for the Hollis Road account. The first one that I was involved with was getting that used water tank from the Facebook marketplace. And it was under an amount that was agreed upon. And I think that was taken care of, but I wasn't clear what account that money came from. And most recently, this week, there was an approved proposal and a purchase order that was approved for some fencing and materials for the pollinator habitat. I guess that was to protect the 20 by 200 foot piece of garden area that had been mowed all summer. And in order to protect it, fencing was approved to go around that part of the habitat, as well as put some fencing around some of the trees that were planted to save them from deer damage that occurs on property at the habitat. So I'll be meeting with Paul Valenti, who I believe will orchestrate getting that purchase order or getting the order purchased from Home Depot.
Yeah. And everything's been ordered, Mike, and it's just a question of pickup at this point.
Okay. And I will try to arrange to have a truck, as it can't cannot fit a lot of fencing in my car. As you all know, it's small. And so I will try to borrow a truck to get that picked up and delivered.
Excellent. Anything else on Hollis Road?
We're still working on getting numbers for the kitchen. So far, we have some numbers, but they're not. We're waiting for some painting numbers to come in. Those have not come in. So hopefully we'll have more by the next meeting.
Very good. Anything else?
I think we're also trying to see if we're going to speak. I haven't had a chance to speak with the tenant to see if we can fit our lawnmower in the
Oh, yeah, that's
the
important.
barn. Yeah, we'd like to do that, but we haven't connected. As I said, I've been away a few days last week. So hopefully that'll get resolved by the next meeting to see if we have a place to put our lawnmower. And we just acquired a donation of another lawnmower. This one is a small push mower, but it would be nice to put them side by side so they're protected against the elements this winter.
Yes, excellent. Okay, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to administrative determinations. Nadia, do we have updates there? It seems like we do definitely need to talk about 131 White Street, don't we?
Yes, they have a RDA in, which will be discussed at the next meeting at this point.
Okay,
But they had called me out. They would like to take down the 3 dead trees, which the commission observed, that are within, within 30 feet of the stream there, next to the parking lot. So they wanted to ask if they could get permission to take down the 3 dead trees under an admin determination, which I think is an appropriate use of the admin determination versus 40 odd trees. Some of which are living. So my recommendation to the commission would be to permit them to take down those 3 trees that are actually dead in the, and sort of along the riverfront area there.
I would move that we ratify the agent's determination to remove the 3 dead trees within the 30-foot no touch at 131 White Street.
I second that.
okay. Roll call vote. Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay. Rich, I'm not certain I
muted.
caught you. Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
thank you. And I for myself. So approved.
Great. My second administrative determination is for 53 Pearl Street. This is a home along Lake Shirley, and they have some trees. They have 3 trees that are sort of growing over their house, with the branches are going very far over the roof. They are on the very outer edge of the 30-foot buffer, and so they will ask for permission to remove these 3 trees, and then another one they'd like to limb so that the crown remains, but that the limbs that are hanging over the house no longer remain. And they have offered to plant in replacement. They said 2 hemlocks and 2 maples. It's kind of a very sloped site, so they're not sure what else they can get in that will survive. So that was what they had offered to do. I can pull up a picture if that is a little more helpful.
Yeah, that would be helpful. And for my benefit, would you repeat, they want to remove how many trees and then limb 1 tree?
They want to remove 3 trees and limb 1 tree.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll show you, hold on. So this is the site, and there's kind of on the right side, there's a sort of a fairly steep hill that eventually goes down to Lake Shirley. This edge of the house is on the very outer edge of the 30-foot buffer. And the trees have limbs that all go well over the roof of the house, which it was a little hard to take a picture of.
And then
Now,
they're
does it-
offering to replace with one hemlock, two hemlocks and a maple, or
Two
what was it?
hemlocks and 2 maples.
Okay,
So,
okay,
and
I think, go ahead.
the tree
Nadia?
that they want to limb is some of the branches on this tree, which is also going over the roof.
Okay. Did I hear another question, Rich Birch?
Yeah, Nadia, have they proposed sizes for the hemlocks and the maples, and what variety maple?
I can certainly ask for some more definition on maples. I mean, they will do the around 10-foot height and the sort of the 2-inch diameter at chest height.
All right, and then 6 to 7 foot on the hemlocks.
Okay. So 10 foot on the maples.
Do we have any other questions from our fellow commissioners? Okay, I would accept a motion to approve.
I would make a motion that we ratify the agent determination to remove and limb the trees as discussed and replace with 2 maples, 2-inch caliber or 10-inch, whichever is greater, and 2 6 to 7 foot hemlocks in that same general vicinity.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Actually, before we do the roll call vote, I note that our chairman, Bob Pease, has arrived. And so, Bob, did you hear all of that dialogue about the administrative determination, and are you in a position to vote on this topic? Okay, maybe Bob's there in name only. Okay, well, we'll do a roll call.
I am.
Oh, okay. Very good. Roll call vote, Rich Birch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
Bob Pease,
Aye.
and I for myself. So unanimous decision for approval with conditions as stated.
And there is one more administrative determination. Let me just pull up the picture. Let's see. And this one is for 238 Fire Road 16. Mr. McGurran had me out earlier this week. He is almost ready to close out his order of conditions. However, he still needs to present the commission with the as-built plan and the engineer's letter confirming that everything conforms to the as-built. In the meantime, and I had gone to look at the site. Everything is fully vegetated. As far as I can tell, all the things that were required to be planted are planted and are thriving in the places that they're supposed to be. This is a separate request. He would like to, this tree has gotten damaged and it looks like it's broken, and he'd like permission to cut it. It's just outside of the silt fence. This is along the driveway towards that, there's that wetlands area behind it to the north. So it's
So
one. tree.
Nadia, my question for you is, that tree looks joined at the base with the other major trunk? Is he just going to cut the one that he seems to have his hands on, or is he
Yes.
proposing to
No,
cut both?
He's just proposing to cut the one that he has his hands on.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from my fellow commissioners? I would accept motions to approve.
I would motion that we ratify the agent's decision to cut the one tree as shown in the picture.
I second.
Okay, roll call vote. Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
Bob Pease,
Same.
I for myself. Okay, since we're done with that that subtopic, I think, Nadia, we're done with the administrative determinations.
Yes.
So since we're done with that topic on the agenda, I think I should yield the floor to the chairman, Bob Pease, and let him take over at the certificates of compliance section of the agenda.
Only if you really want to. I'm very happy to watch you do excellent work here.
If it's all the same to you, I'll keep going. We've gotten to the
Super.
easier part
I
of
love it.
the
Thank you.
agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pease. Okay, Nadia, certificates of compliance.
Okay, so these are all places that I have done site visits for. Unfortunately, none of them actually are quite ready to issue full certificates of compliance. They all need to get their engineer's letter. Some of them need to have as-built plans. All of those plans are in progress. But I did want to let you know my opinion on each of these sites since I have visited them. So I would start with 90 Hemlock Drive. They have 2 orders of conditions. The one that they now are looking to close out is based around their yard, a septic field that they'd replaced, and some replantings of trees they've been required to replace. I think it's something like maybe almost 30 trees. So we went around the site and the homeowner, she showed me all of the trees that have planted. For the most part, most of them have come in. There's about 5 or 6, I think, due to the weather conditions this year that didn't come in well, but for the most part, I think everything is growing and is thriving. So I would say that certificate of compliance on 90 Hemlock Drive is ready to close when they bring in their, when they actually finally send that request in. So that's my recommendation. 131 Holman Street and 137 Holman Street are 2 sites along Holman. They're part of a larger, I think they're sort of like an 8-plot subdivision in there. And the 2 homeowners there are both almost ready to go. They have one area that they had to move one of the rain gardens. And so they are looking to get, again, an updated engineered plan and the as-built letter from the engineer. And I think once they have that, they'll submit that. Both of those, the sites are fully revegetated. They are otherwise fully compliant with the original plans. I think they're also ready to issue a certificate of compliance. And then the last one site I visited, and I have some pictures, this is for Fire Road 16, and it's not 263. My apologies. It's 238 Fire Road 16, and I'll pull up the pictures. So let's see. So as you remember, there was quite a bit that of replanting that they needed to do. So this is some of the wetlands replication area. That's some of the areas in the 30-foot. And so the trees that they had, had requested have come in. The mix that Rich Birch that you were concerned about, that's all come in at this point. This is sort of the part of the hill overlooking the house. These plantings have come in. This line here is the exact line where they're supposed to have that particular mix that was requested, and that is now in. You can see here, this is sort of looking towards, here's the driveway coming in and the sort of the floodplain, I'm going to say like the storage area. This is along the side of the house. This is sort of the house, the driveway for the house is here, the easterly side. So as far as I can tell, I had come earlier when they just put the plantings in. So all of the plantings that were supposed to be on that plan, including the prior plantings, have all been planted, and the homeowner has done enough watering during the drought that everything is alive. So again, they are also still waiting on they're waiting on the engineered plan and the letter for them to actually file for the certificate of compliance. In this case, we just need to close out the order of conditions that the commission issued under the bylaw. That's totally separate from what DEP is doing with the superseding order of conditions. So, and my recommendation would also be to, that it's ready, although if the commission would like to go back and do a site visit when they actually do request extra compliance, you are welcome to do so, of course. So,
Okay, thank you, Nadia. Thank you for those updates. I think what you're saying is there's no action for us tonight on these.
yes, but I wanted to let you know that in my opinion, all of these sites are ready for a certificate of compliance to be issued once they have the other pieces that they need for that to come before the commission.
Thank you for that. Okay, moving along to enforcement.
Yes, so I have put together enforcement orders for 48 Oak Ridge, 54 Pine Grove, 23 Cove Road, 336 Arbor Street. And it would be nice to have the commission also vote to endorse each of these enforcement orders and have you actually sign off on versions of them, which we can send around by DocuSign. So I don't know if it's possible to do that, but that would ratify each of these enforcement orders.
Okay, so I haven't come across this before. So are you asking us to actually vote on each one of these or just to sign the documentation once it's circulated?
I'm going to ask how you've done this procedure in the past. Either way would be acceptable to me, but I do want to ask Bob and Rich what they would recommend.
I think with enforcement orders, Nadia, and I may be wrong, but it just requires a chair or vice chair's signature. I didn't think it required everybody.
Okay, in that case, I'll
But
send
I
them around.
may be wrong, but I thought that was for an enforcement order. That was the minimum requirement.
Okay, then if they don't require a vote, I will not. I would just let you know that they'll be in your as part of your DocuSign package tomorrow.
Perfect.
I do want to let you know, so the Beers lot, I haven't heard anything further. I'll send, they're still waiting, I think, for some engineered plans, and engineers are taking 6 and beyond weeks for things to get ready. We do finally have an RDA for 411 Goodrich Street, so that will probably be on the meeting for November 16th. So that's also good. Mr. Blatt has finally submitted that. So.
Very good. Okay, I was just making a little note here. Okay, if there's nothing else about enforcement orders, we'll move on to open space and land use. So in particular, I have no updates from the open space committee meeting, as we didn't have, we were scheduled to have the October meeting last week, and we didn't have a quorum, so cancel the meeting. We'll meet again in November. Howard Street driveway. Bob, did you have any updates on that? Bob or Nadia?
It's been 100% approved. So the next step is for me to go and approach the DPW director and ask him, can he help us with this? And see what he says.
Very good.
If
That
he
would be
says,
excellent.
if he says no, then I'll be back at the next meeting, and we'll have to discuss it, but we'll see what he says, so.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Okay, timber sales. Any updates on that?
They're cut on the Hollis Road property is well underway. And after they finish the Hollis Road, then they're going to start on the Chase Road, Northfield Road property. You know, he sent out a butters notices to all the abutters, and we only got one inquiry back, so I think we're in good shape.
Excellent.
And just to remind the commission, we're expected to get like 28 grand out of this, so that'll be helpful.
And that's out of both of them together.
Yep.
Excellent. And then did we need to take an action to vote on the Mackey's PO?
No, previously the commission had voted for a $2,000 Mackey's PO. Based on that, but we only spent about 70, and it hadn't occurred to me that that PO would expire, you know, on July 1st, and that we needed, you know, to have a new PO. So Nadia looked to see how much we spent, and she subtracted that from $2,000, and she issued a new PO for, you know, $1,900 and something dollars. So it already exists, and so we don't need a vote. I would just comment that as far as I'm concerned, we should always have an open PO at Mackey's with at least $300 or $400 in it. So that if we want to repair a bridge, buy some fasteners, you know, do something to, you know, for conservation improvements, you know, we can just, you know, buy the materials and go and do it rather than having to, you know, put it on the agenda, you know, so on and so forth. So, but we're
I
all,
agree with that strategy. I think it's an excellent strategy.
you know, case in point, you know, because we have this PO for, you know, $1,900 plus, you know, we'll be able to take and I'll be able to go, you know, if the snow riders give me a list, I'll be able to go down and you know, make the purchases and pay, you know, we can tack on $25 for delivery and they'll be delivered to wherever the snow riders want them. So you know, to me, that's the way it ought to be.
I have a list and a presentation around that proposal.
And did you already do that?
I have not done that yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I was saving the best for last.
Oh.
Are there any other conservation land improvements that we need to discuss beside the Cowdrey lot bridge
Well,
repair?
I just say that I have to reach out to volunteers to finish putting up the trail signs. And probably next year, we should tackle installing the gates.
That's a good point. And I also was going to socialize with the my fellow commissioners that we have, you know, I had been asking Girl Scouts, just because I have some friends that are scout leaders, if they might be interested in writing some Lunenburg Ledger articles about various aspects of the conservation land. And we do have some interest. And I also had reached out to the one of the writers for the Lunenburg Ledger and asked them if they might be willing to provide some mentoring on, you know, and coaching on kind of the journalistic aspect of writing for the paper, and you know, got enthusiastic support there. So I would ask the commission to kind of think about and start feeding into me anything that you can dream of that you think might be interesting about the conservation lands and things that the young women could write on. Nadia had a great idea. She had recommended that maybe we get somebody to write about the bald eagle and how the wetland, you know, adhering to the wetlands regulations actually supports this wonderful habitat that has allowed the bald eagles to come back and take up residence here. So I think that's a good one to start out with. I think talking about some of the, you know, the endangered species that are protected around, like Landing's turtle also might be interesting. And Bob, if you're looking for volunteers, you know, we could certainly ask if somebody would, you know, we could get a picture to them of some of the signs that have been installed and, you know, why it's important, yada, yada, and do a little blurb on that to see if we could generate some volunteer interest for putting up the rest of those signs.
Okay,
And I did have a short list. I won't drag everybody through it. I did have a short list of ideas that I'll circulate to the commissioners, and because I think that kind of idea, kind of brainstorm works best, kind of in a brainstorm. But I would ask people just to feed me back individually any ideas that you have, so that we can consider those with the Girl Scouts. And if it pleases the commission, I'd like to now take a moment to kind of review what the Lunenburg Snow Riders are proposing for the conservation, the Cowdrey Conservation Area. We have, as you guys know, Lunenburg Snow Riders. I'm a club officer for that organization. We have a lot of people that are out on the trails regularly, whether it's speed walking dogs. A lot of members are avid mountain bikers. We have a lot of trail runners and whatnot out on the trails all the time, surveying and feeding back to our club the status of the trails. And we did have someone recently feedback to us that one of these bridges here in the Cowdrey lot is a safety hazard, right? And so I put together just really quickly, just, you know, a map so we can show you where it is, kind of overview what we're proposing to do to correct the safety hazard. We have some photos, and then Bob, I have a detailed project plan for ordering materials.
yeah, I read it.
Very good. So here's the approximate location of the bridge. As you can see, it's part of, you know, one of the main trails that goes through the Cowdrey lot, so it gets a bit of foot traffic in there. And so what we'd like to do is we'd like to get budget support, and I think it'll be less than 1,200. And I'll go through the details of why it's going to be like that. I would like to make certain that the conservation commissioners are aware we would be using power units, Kubota and an ATV or similar to haul materials out, because there's a lot of wood that needs to get down the trail for repairing this bridge. Yeah, and then what the Lunenburg Snow Riders would provide would be the volunteer resources, and of course we have a lot of professionals in our group, right? We would remove and dispose of any rotting deck members and install the new decking and banding material. Of course, our tools or your tools, we'll have them out there: chainsaws, battery operated drills, etc., as necessary to get this old deck removed and new deck installed. And our goal is to do that within a day, so that we don't leave a half-done job out there as a further safety hazard. And then, of course, the power units that we have either owned by the club or by individuals would be leveraged for moving the material out there and expediting the project. And you can see this is pretty bad, right? If somebody's not paying attention, they could get hurt on this bridge. And even for the ones that are missing, there are a lot more that are spongy. And we had put some banding out there previously to kind of help shore up some of that spongy decking boards, but you know, it's just kind of gone to the end of life. So we're proposing to just redeck the whole thing. These stringers that are underneath, you know, leverage utility poles, which is common around a lot of our properties. Those appear to be in really good shape, so we're not gonna pull those out. We're just gonna leave them in place and put new decking on top. And so for the details of the project, we are proposing to widen and reinforce the deck. Right now it's 6 foot by 30 foot. We would like to actually replace it with 8 foot pressure treated lumber. Widening the bridge allows for safer access for our winter groomers, for any other power equipment that needs to get down there to support maintenance. And then it would also reduce the cost of the repairs, and it'll honestly make it quicker for us to get in there and get it done, because we're not having to cut each stick of material. 6 foot PT is a little hard to come by now. 8 foot's widely available, to the extent that any PT lumber is widely available these days with the supply chain shortages. But you know, it also reduces construction waste. And then we also would strengthen, or proposing to strengthen the bridge. Right now, we've got the 5/4 decking material up there. We want to put out 2-inch 2x6s across the decking, so it'll make it stronger. It'll also add some useful life into the bridge, right? So we don't have to get out there and replace it quite as quickly, and does make it, again, you know, safer for the winter groomers. Additionally, we'd like to add banding. You saw we had a little banding on the existing deck. We actually like to go ahead and put 6 cross members instead of the 2. Again, adding additional strength, and then it protects against snowmobile damage in the winter times. Yeah, and no change to the stringers again. Any questions about the detail plan? Everybody's asleep. And there's the breakout of, you know, and I just compared Home Depot prices and Lowe's prices, and rounded up a little bit, because I know Mackey's kind of doesn't have the same economies of scale as Home Depot and Lowe's do. Yeah, so we're really expecting to come in well below 1,200, but I never like to go in and ask low and have to come back and ask high again.
Actually, I found that Mackey's prices are very competitive.
Oh, excellent. So we may even be below this number then. That'd be great. Okay, if there are no other questions, oh, Rich.
Hey, just a quick question, and going from a 6-foot decking to an 8-foot decking and putting groomers and snowmobiles and things on it, are just the 2 stringers in their current position going to provide enough strength and stability to the outer edge where you're adding that extra foot? on each
No,
side?
I don't think so. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to go ahead and, well, I think the stringers are okay, but we definitely want to put banding. We're going to do 2x6 banding along the outside to give a little extra strength on the outside. And the way I planned the project was to have 1/2-inch gap in between each of the members. So we'll have a little tighter kind of placement on this as well. So I think between beefing up to the 1.5-inch actual dimension for the 2x6s, and then adding more banding across it, we think that'll be pretty robust. But it's a good question. It's something we thought about.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No more questions. Bob, do you think that we need to vote as a commission to approve that project, since it's a maintenance and a repair project? And we
Well,
have approved
On a technical
funds?
basis, I don't think we need a vote to approve a maintenance process, but I would like to make a motion that we approve this this project and express our appreciation to the snow riders for their labor. And that was a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Then we'll take a roll call vote. Bob Pease,
Aye.
Rich Birsch. Oh, Rich didn't come off mute. We'll come back to Rich. Katie,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
Rich Bursch, do you care to vote? Okay, I think he's abstaining, and I for myself. So thank you, folks. I do appreciate that show of support for snow riders and the maintenance, and enhancements that that they and we as a snow rider member, I do appreciate the show of support. So thank you. Moving along on the agenda, any committee reports? I'm not seeing a show of hands. Oh, and Rich just dropped, so he may have been having some technical difficulties in that last round. And any public comment?
I apologize for not being here earlier in the meeting. I was at a water district meeting where the motion to fund the study passed. I was curious, did you discuss the use of DocuSign and the impact of declining to sign on the office staff?
We did, yes.
Okay, thank you. And did you explain that I want to ask town council about the 2-year statute of limitations, about its basis?
We did
And,
not cover that, no.
so Matt Murrow, when he was here, always would say that there was a 2-year statute of limitations on violations in the buffer zone, so long as they weren't impacting the resource area. And so I asked Nadia to put in the Google Drive a couple of documents from a couple of years ago where I went to town council about this. Or actually, I didn't go to town council about this. Matt Morrow sent an email and I was copied on the email, and I put that email and then something else that I'm not quite sure where I got it. So I'm going to ask town council about this because I've never understood. I can't find anything about this in the Inland Wetlands Act. I can't find anything about this in the MAC handbook. And so, I wanted to know, what the legal basis of it is, how does it apply, and all this other stuff, so I can bring it back to the commission for clarification. I would also like to say that, tonight is Nadia's last night. Nadia has been wonderful. I'd like to express my appreciation for everything she's done for the commission and the really, really, really thorough job she's done in helping us to prepare for this transition. She has a great opportunity here, and I absolutely understand, why she's leaving us. She's going to get a big pay raise, and she's going to be able to work from home some days every week. And she's been just wonderful. She made a 2-page document that describes everything that she does, in the 2-week cycle, and she's done her very best to take and prepare the office, for this transition period when the position will be vacant. It's my understanding there's going to be conduct interviews with some applicants tomorrow. And our office assistant, Rebecca Manley, is going to be working on the minutes, trying to issue the the certificates, and the approvals and the denials. And Adam Burney is going to be looking at the applications that come into the commission through the online portal. So I just want to express my appreciation to Nadia, and assure the commission that people, even though we are not going to have a conservation administrator for at least 2 more weeks, probably more, that people are working behind the scenes to make sure that our work continues.
I second that. I've really enjoyed working with Nadia. She's been fabulous. I didn't have the privilege of working with Matt Morrow, so I have nothing to compare with, but I really loved working with Nadia and loved, we usually rode together on the Saturday site walks. And I enjoyed her company. I always learned a lot when I was working with her, and I really appreciate that. And I wish you the best of luck, Nadia.
Thank you. Yeah, I have had a really amazing experience with Lunenburg Conservation Commission. I am going to miss all of you. You've been wonderful to work with. You've really built me up in the time that I've been here. And I do think, I do think you're going to have someone good to replace me, because they're going to be very lucky to be working with all of you. So,
Awesome. Any other comments or public commentary?
Yeah, this is Mike. Nadia, I want to wish you well and thank you for being our administrator. Saturdays have been a lot of fun because you were there guiding us through all of our site walks, and so you will be missed.
I hope you keep them going, because you all learned things and you saw many things that I didn't even see on those walks. So they're, your opinion, your insights are very helpful.
Thank
And I
you.
also agree with my fellow commissioners. You did a great job. I've learned a lot in the short time you've been here. Best of luck going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats, Nadia. Good luck.
Thanks, Katie. Well, you've all been wonderful. So I'm just leaving because the offer is so good. Otherwise, I'd just stay with you all because you're really nice. So, and it's just a lovely place to work.
Rich is still suffering from technical difficulties, unfortunately, but it sounded like he was underscoring everybody's comments. Okay, I think with that, poor Rich. We didn't catch any of that.
I guess I got crappy internet.
I think with that, Rich, do you want to try again? I think we're maybe at diminished returns. With that, I think I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Second. I'll second that.
I think we have to make the motion first. I said I would accept.
So
the
moved.
motion.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
excellent. All right, roll call vote. Bob Pease,
Aye.
Rich Birch.
Aye.
Ooh, we got that. Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself. Next meeting is November 2nd, 7 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary, thank you so much for chairing tonight.
My pleasure, Bob. Take care,
Bye.
all.
Have a good evening all.